Good afternoon. Thank you for joining us for today's webinar. Sure, my screen will advance here. My name is Sean O'Brien, the president of Quick Rate, and I'm pleased to be joined by from our credit union team, Jason. Jason, will you introduce yourself?
Hey everybody, Jason on the Quick Rate sales side. Also help with the CECL solver stuff, and yeah. So, well,
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for joining us to take us through the exciting parts of today's conversation. Just a reminder, we will send out a link to the recording today as well. That link will, or the email that will contain the link will also contain a copy of the slides. If you have questions, certainly use the chat feature today or the Q&A feature, and we'll monitor those and take those in the midst of the discussion or just at the end. But we will monitor those and make sure we respond to everything submitted. So just a quick agenda, right? We're just going to kind of talk about where we are, kind of what some of the implications are for us in terms of investing and funding going forward. Jason's going to take you through the marketplace. And then, as we mentioned, we'll follow up again, either at the end or even in the midst of the discussion today regarding any questions submitted. Just a reminder, as Jason indicated, beyond the marketplace, he assists with our CECL solver for credit unions. So I think, nearly 400 of credit union subscribers work with us on our CECL solution. We also have IntelliCredit services where we perform some loan reviews. So trying to continue to round out and develop and deliver additional solutions for all of our credit union clients. So, kind of where we are, and really this is, probably all in the wake of, what happened last spring with Silicon Valley and some of the other prominent or higher profile bank failures. But really what we've continued to see is just the impact that interest rates have had, not only on our balance sheets, but on our members' expectations around where interest rates should be on different accounts, and obviously then our net interest margins. So, I think some of these things are going to stay with us for much longer than maybe we, historically would have anticipated. But the one in particular, I just think member behaviors are probably impacted going forward. I think it's, probably a given. We'll see increased competition for every one of our shares and, share deposits. I think we'll see, some decline in just non-interest bearing, just because the expectation is since we've had this few years of higher rates, people start to expect them, even as rates start to climb lower. I think they'll still be clamoring for whatever interest rate they can get. I think it will continue to lead for a preference for higher yielding products. So I think as we think about our membership, trying to design products that will, both meet them, from a digital aspect or just relationship status or tiers. We're going to have to take all that account in addition to just what we will pay in interest rates. I think for a long time, and I think just been part of our industry, is there's, we've taken for granted maybe just some of the inertia that's there, but now with the advent of all the technology, and we saw it, on this full display last spring, or spring of 2023, is just how fast money can move. And so, I think for someone like myself, who's been in the industry for, over 30 years, right, one of the advantages that our industry had is that our members were just slow to move oftentimes from one institution to another or one account to another. And again, I think that's probably, changed in some way, I think in a large way, but for all of us in some way forever. I think the other thing that, given the liquidity environment we've been kind of working through here over the last 18 months, I think there's a fair question to be asked of how we think about, not only the price of our, shares or deposits, but also just the stability of those, right? I think, for particularly smaller institutions, we want to be able to feel good that the share deposits that are on our balance sheet are going to stick around, right? And so as we're thinking about attracting new ones, we might pay more if we feel like there's a chance for it to stick around longer, right? It just makes our job of managing our institutions a little bit easier. But I think, given the increased competition for those shares, stability is really something I think, and the longevity of those share deposits are something we really need to focus in on, and determine whether we're willing to pay up a little bit more for that stability. On the flip side, right, I think expectations around stress testing and contingency funding, are back in focus. Dusting off, in particular, contingency funding plans, I think has really, resurfaced over the last year and a half. And then I think, anytime you have an inflection point like we're likely at today, with interest rates moving now, probably having reached its peak and going lower, I think it's a healthy time to just kind of review, both our investment strategies and even our liquidity risk management practices and policies, just to make sure they're kind of in tune with where we are today and where we think, with rates going potentially lower, what that'll mean, and what we, make sure our policies and procedures and our outlook and strategies are all kind of in sync. And so, I think this is a healthy time to, if we haven't already done that, to consider it. And then finally, I think, across the board, both in the bank and credit union space, I think examiner expectations are elevated, right? We really have been in a, really almost in some ways a really wonderful environment in terms of benign credit activity since the financial crisis. And, I think most regulators on the bank side were I don't want to say asleep at the switch, but they were slow to react to what happened with some of those larger bank failures in 23. And so I think the lessons learned, right? They're a little bit more elevated. They might be a little bit more pointed with their comments and their expectations. And I think we have to realize that that's probably the table stakes here for the near future. So I think a lot of the challenges that we're experiencing today are going to likely be with us tomorrow. I think, again, the pressure to again, stability of shares sticking around, I think, is going to be critical. If we want to grow, attracting new ones is certainly something. A lending conundrum, right? I think for the most part, we've seen benign credit activity, although the consumer has, over the last couple of years, been a little bit weaker, right? So the one area besides commercial real estate we've seen a little bit of uptick is obviously in consumer lending. So, again, balancing not only our growth outlooks, but just funding that, I think, is something we're just going to have to continue to monitor. The yield curve, obviously, over almost nearly 2 years of it being inverted, we kind of finally broke that here recently. But I think, with the expectation of a rate cut today, we're probably on our path to getting back to a somewhat flatter, or at least a normal looking yield curve. And again, that'll have implications, both on the investing and on the issuing side. So those, just lead to a lot of liquidity uncertainties, right? Balancing, keeping what we have, trying to grow if we need to or want to, I think is really gonna be front and center here. And again, I don't think we're at exasperation points, but I think, it's just going to be with us, right? It's just because it's hard to feel really good that money, isn't going to stay with us, right? I think it's just, hopefully it'll settle down, but I think increasingly everybody's feeling this pressure. And I think, unfortunately, oftentimes, that will lead to people just trying to pay up to gather or gain, shares. And so we're just going to have to be mindful of it. In the quick rate marketplace, that can be used to our advantage as investors, right? So there's always two ways of looking at things, but liquidity is going to remain, a very, very prominent, focus for us as we go forward here. And then, as we touched on, the increased regulatory focus. So, again, I think, there's obviously the most attention is given to interest rates, something that's out of our control, but we're always kind of in the wake and reacting to. And really, I think it seems like we're on track for a soft landing. I think that's what hopefully the Fed is certainly trying to engineer. It feels like they're they feel, I think, better that we're on that path. And so I think beginning to lower rates here, they believe will keep us on that path. But certainly there are other potential outcomes. And, we have to consider what would be the implications if one of the other two scenarios or outcomes came into play. I think our base case is probably that inflation, the rate of inflation will continue to decline. The Fed will begin lowering rates and likely lower, throughout 2025. They really don't want to see, although there will be some pressure on the unemployment rate, they certainly want to try to contain that. And if they do that, then, I think we can escape a recession and hopefully any of the downsides that come with that. So again, as we touched on, we've likely seen the high in interest rates. And so that clearly has, implications for our investment strategies, right? Do we begin to look into and try to lock in longer term CDs? Do we barbell approach it? Do we add or lengthen our ladder? I think these are all things that, that I'm sure all of you are considering and thinking about. But, I think certainly trying to, if you can, again, have that stability in your balance sheet to keep your shares, then I think, trying to lock in some longer term CDs, certainly, if you haven't already begun to do that, certainly now is the time to be investigating it. On the other side, if you're using, the marketplace for funding, right, I think, try to continue to hopefully obviously use us, but also if you need more, right, make sure you've got a mix. You want to stay in close touch with all your providers, test the capacity of it. And then again, just make sure you've got everything in place to continue to manage and actively use as many funding sources as you possibly can. All of this is, it's just a lot tougher. Usually you'd be rates be going lower. We might be thinking, hey, this will be easier to manage. I just think the expectation changes in our members and just around interest rates has just really made the challenge for us due to the impact of our margins of lowering our cost of funds at the expense of liquidity, right? We don't want to lose any members or share deposits, but that is a much more difficult balance to manage than it was a year, 2, 3, or 4, 5 years ago. So I think it's again going to stay with us, and we'll have to do the best job that we can. But there's no question it's a much more competitive landscape than we experienced in the near past. So just a final couple of thoughts before I turn it over to Jason. Again, I think it all starts with listening to your balance sheet, right? Confidence in the stability of your shares, is critical. Try to, as best we can, maintain discipline on both our loan pricing and our share pricing. Revisit all of our philosophies and policies and procedures and make sure, again, not only are they up to date, but do we need to change any limits? Is it in sync with what our expectations for growth or no growth going forward? Is just make sure everything's in sync. I do think we have to be prepared for rates going lower. So again, good on one side of the balance sheet, a little bit more challenging for the asset side. And then, again, I think where you can stress test or just, most importantly, document and stay in communication with, any ALCO committee you might have or your management team or even your board of directors. So at this point, I'm going to turn it over to Jason, and he's going to talk you through some highlights of the quick rate marketplace. Jason?
Yep. Share your screen, Sean, and I'll take that.
Yep. Oh, you want to stop it? Yeah. It's yours to take.
Can you see that, Sean?
You can see your screen.
Perfect. Awesome. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. And this is the quick rate marketplace here. Exactly what it's going to look like when you log in. It's all web-based, so you have as many logins as you need. And again, this handles both sides, issuing and investing. So you can do both here. And as an issuer or even contingency funding, it's important to get that set up now. And really, we don't need a whole lot. Like a lot of these programs, you set up your profile. So here you can add in your users, set up notifications. And again, plugging in the details that you'll need to have out there to raise deposits or invest on quick rate on the issuing side. Pretty simple, just how you're, paying out interest, your minimum and maximums, deposits that you want to take, along with your wire details. As an investor, you'll need a little bit different stuff, mainly what are your interest payments? So where do you want those ACH and checks to be sent? W-9 and signed corporate resolution, listing of your authorized signers, and e-wire information for added maturity. Once that's set up, and again, depending on what you need for a day, you can do one, and later, if your needs change, you can always switch to the other side. So very easy to get going and just set these things up. As the issuer looking for deposits or contingency funding, it's more important to get out there, get set up, and do regular testing. So to publish rates, say you are looking for funds, you'll just go here to publish rates. We do have a quick tip area that will show you activity within the marketplace, within the last month. So it gives you a better idea of, where the investors are going. But when it comes to adding in rates, you click edit rates, and here we can start just plugging in some options. Well, that 2.0 is going to be pretty low. Let's just do 7, 8 there. 5, and I'm just plugging in some numbers. You can always come in, add your own, and I'm just going to analyze. And what this is going to do is tell us exactly where we're going to be in the marketplace, right? So on quick rate, there's the highest rate, and then there's the lowest rate, everyone in between. For our investors, their only concern is getting the highest rate while staying under the insurance limit. So they'll start at the top and then work their way down. So depending on how much you need and how fast you need it, that will really determine your ranking. So, if you're looking for a lot of money quickly, obviously you want to be higher up in that list. But, sometimes too, it's nice to just have an always in the market strategy where you leave some maybe lower rates out there. And if you do get a deposit, maybe here and there, fantastic. You get money at a great price. But here, it's going to show us where our ranking is, our position in the board, how many ties we are out of, this many institutions posting rates. Once we have that set, we can set some kind of how much we want to take in. The first is just to have no limit, right? Says, hey, set these rates out there for a week. Just keep it coming until I say stop. At any point in time, you can come out here and remove your rates from the marketplace. But you can set based on terms. So here you'll say, hey, I want 20 million total. I want 5 of that to come from there, or 10 from there, 5 from here, and 5 from here. Once those thresholds are hit, you have some options. The first is to just send me an email, right? Let me know. At that point, you can decide what you want to do. You can also have the system automatically pull your rates from the market. And then finally, you can say, hey, lower my rates by 50 basis points, 100 basis points. That'll usually cut down on activity and slow things down a bit. You can also just say, hey, look, I want 20 million. I don't care which of these terms it comes from. I'm just looking for 20 million. And again, you have the same options, right? Send me an email, pull my rates, and then lower my rates out, by an X amount. And once you're done, you just click post here, and your rates will be automatically put out in the marketplace. And that's where you'll show up here on the investing side. And this is really where the investors go. You will be out here amongst the listing of institutions, again, ranked by your rate. So as an investor, you'll come out here daily. You can see exactly who you have investments with already. You can also see information on each institution, address, main contacts, their minimum, maximum deposits, how they're paying their interest, their wire instructions are here, along with their financials, any kind of name changes, acquisitions, things like that. We keep track of all that information for you. But when it comes to investing, it's just like shopping on Amazon these days, right? We're just going to add things to our shopping cart. And I added one I already have. And then we'll just go check out. So this is great. It just makes it easy, especially if you got, 5 million to do in a day, maybe a couple million in investing. You can just pop them all in here and send it all out at once. So I'm just going to add, let's say, and again, we already have funds at that institution. So you can see a warning has just popped up. if you try to send this request off, there's going to be a big warning that's going to show up there to kind of prevent that. So it's handy tools. Double placing, we'll get rid of that one. But let's say everything is good here. All you'll do is you'll select and then you'll click the send inquiry button. Once you do that, each of those institutions gets all of your details, right? Who you are, your ACH instructions, your resolution W-9, all that information is sent out automatically. Go about your day. Typically, you'll start receiving acceptances, accepted inquiries, anywhere from 5 minutes to a few hours down, right? If you're East Coast and you're sending inquiries out to, California or Hawaii, it's going to take them a little bit longer to get back to you, but you will receive an email, and I will show you what that looks like. Let's go to the investor inquiries demo. So here is exactly what your inquiry screen will look like, right? The envelope is just a pending status. Once you've accepted, you'll see a blue check mark, and that is really your go ahead to wire the funds at that point. You've been accepted, you're good to go. You can cancel that. It's not a done deal until you send the money. So you can certainly cancel beforehand. But let's say you're good. You send the money. The last step is just to post that listing to your portfolio. That really tells the system, yep, I bought this CD, mark it as I own it at this institution, and make sure I don't double place. We'll also start receiving your electronic safe keep receipts same day or next day. It has all the details on there. The great thing about this is very dynamic. This whole system we just looked at is called eContact. It links your listing with theirs. So later, if you update a new resolution, new W-9, change your ACH instructions, the other side will be notified automatically. So you don't have to send all that out to 50, 100 different institutions letting them know. So very handy. And then finally here, we do have a whole host of reports, whether you're investing or issuing, pretty much anything you could think of. We've been doing this, over 35 years now. And a lot of these reports were based on customer input. Everything from the call report. Here we have the investments by insurance type. So this is the CD portion of the call report right there. Maturity calendars. We even have custom reports that you can export out to Excel. Most of these are either going to be an option of a PDF or an Excel file. So very handy. Same thing on the deposit side, right? Board packages, deposit analysis, everything you need there, along with those custom reports. So everything is here. I think the most, least talked about aspect of Quick Rate is our customer service. It is fantastic. Our team has been with us for over a decade, some even a lot longer than that. But quick chat, click for help. Let us know if you have any questions. If you have some new employees, we could train them up, walk them through this, make sure your docs are squared away. If you're an issuer and you're doing contingency funding, we can set up annual times to go through, maybe post a rate, kind of go through the steps of making sure everything is in order. So if you do need to raise funds, you're ready to go. So fantastic service here, tons of support. So you're never on your own. So that is Quick Rate. And let me stop sharing. We'll go back to the presentation. Okay. If you want to bring back up the, there we go. Close out with some last couple of slides here. And again, it can help you on both sides of the balance sheet, right? Whether you're funding or investing. And the nice thing is about Quick Rate, once you're in, you can do both. So, and if you're not actively looking for funds right now, but you think you might be, now's a great time to get in there, get that set up. If you're investing or you have excess liquidity, again, now's the time to get out there and start thinking about it. As rates start going down, our marketplace the rates tend to hover a little higher. They don't move quite as fast as like a brokered CD or security will. Get the next slide, Sean.
Yep. Oops. Sorry. There we go. Sorry, Jason.
Yeah, no worries. So again, just a little bit to here. Marketplace and review, premier non-brokered marketplace. Again, that just means we don't handle the funds. y'all are sending the money directly to the other side. 38 years of experience in this marketplace, 2,800 institutions utilizing us, no third-party fees. I mean, we have some of the highest satisfaction there is in the industry. And again, that just goes to how great they are. Next slide. Again, and we are a leader there. Just we've done so much outreach and education. You've mentioned us at your local trade show, your state trade shows, and we continue to try to be on the forefront of just helping you navigate this ever-changing banking landscape. And again, just a snapshot of those rates. So this is as of today, earlier. Again, I think we'll probably get back to a normal curve here soon. Again, we'll see what happens with the rates. But again, as an investor, now is the time to really get out there. And if you do have excess liquidity that you want to put to work, now is the time.
Yeah, and I just got, I noticed 50 basis points. So the Fed actually cut 50 basis points. So yeah, definitely go out there and lock in anything you can, because the rates will probably change tomorrow.
Absolutely. Yep. Yeah. And then again, right, some of the things here, right? If you're back in the day, you might have just called around and do this, right? And here, just everyone's in one spot. Again, there's no brokers or third parties to strip that rate out of there. That rate that you see, that's exactly what you're going to get. Just one place to manage it all. It's a paperless process. You don't have to pick up the phone. Just as easy as shopping on Amazon. Walk through, all right, and then we're just going to leave you here with a few things, right? So when it comes to the quick rates, access to real-time information, direct funding, investing, reporting, and tracking. Here again, included with your sub right, unlimited funding and investing if you're on a membership base. So once you're in the amusement, say you can ride all the rides as much as you need, whatever you're looking for. Regulatory guidance as well. Again, we have Debbie Walker on hand to help you with the rate publishing checklist, your risk management workbook, and things like that. So again, more a full approach to this, and you have all the tools needed to kind of handle and manage your quick rate membership.
Yeah, and I would just reiterate to that point, right? I think as we touched on, now's the time. Is never a bad time, but now may be a time where you just want to revisit your policies, regarding liquidity, but even just utilizing something like quick rate. So Debbie, as Jason indicated, is a tremendous resource that we have available for you. She has an abundance of experience. She's the longest tenured quick rate employee. So, she's been here from the beginning, and, just has a tremendous knowledge of any regulatory issue. So if you have any questions, want to revisit any of your policies or templates or procedures, she can be a really tremendously valuable resource for you to call upon.
I guess this is the three things to remember, right? Quick connection, quick tools, and quick answers. So, easy to get out there and get what you need done. Tools to help you. And if you do have questions, like I said, customer service is top notch. Shoot us an email. We'll have an answer to you, within the hour, usually, if not like 5 minutes, So there's not a lot of places these days that still offer that kind of service. And I know since the pandemic, we all know things have kind of gone by the wayside a little bit, but not here. We still have like the best customer service in town.
Yeah, Jason's right. I mean, the team with Jen, Zoe, and Andrea just are incredible and incredibly responsive. Again, incredibly knowledgeable, and as Jason indicated, quick to respond. So if you have any questions or haven't submitted any right now, go ahead and please feel free to do that through the chat or the Q&A feature. We can take those. If not, we certainly look forward to potentially seeing many of you, if you're Cecil subscribers, or even if you're not, come to our coffee talk next Friday at 11:30 Eastern. You can register for it, and it was with all of our webinars. If you register and can attend, we will send a copy of the slides and a link to the recording, so you can always revisit it at your convenience. Oops. Just a few examples. I think we're really proud, as Jason indicated, working with over 2,800 institutions, been at this for 38 years. We have an incredibly wonderful, client base who have over the years shared their comments with us. These are a few of those, but we really, do really appreciate all of your support. We do, as Jason indicated, continually try to improve the marketplace. So any suggestions that are for improvement, we're always open and willing to hear it and try to address those as best we can. So we did have a question come in. Can we upload investment data with other brokers or institutions for tracking and reporting purposes?
100%. In fact, we recommend you do that. Get them in there so you don't double place. And in addition to that, you can also separate those out into different portfolios. So not only can you upload them, but then you can kind of keep everything a little bit separate. That comes in handy on reporting when you have the ability to separate certain portfolios for certain reports. Maybe you want to keep it all together. Maybe you want to do things separately. So absolutely 100% you can do that.
Yeah, and again, customer service or even Jason or David can be of assistance to that if you need help getting that started. The question or suggestion: we need a way to sort out callable and non-callable CDs. So I think that's always been a little bit of an issue. I think, are you asking? Is it related more to on the rate board or just within the portfolio tracking? But. So we'll certainly continue to try to identify better ways to do that. Oops.
Yeah, I think originally, most Quick Rate had been just straight bullets.
Right on the rate board, yeah. Searching.
Yeah, I don't know. We had added that in the comment to see, but I don't know if we do have a search feature quite yet, just because, again, we were traditionally more just straight bullets. But, again, changing rate environments and with the rates the way they were, definitely saw a lot more callable on the longer end. But yeah, something we'll definitely work on here in the near future for sure.
Yeah, we'll talk to the IT team and see if there's not some kind of filter we can put in place for that.
It brings up another point, right? Our RT is in-house. He's our team has been working with us for forever. We take those comments and we have the tools to make it happen. So absolutely.
Yeah, we will bring that to them and see if there's something we can do. So thank you for the suggestion. I don't see any additional questions. If you do, have them submitted now, but otherwise, certainly thank you for taking time out of your busy day to join us today. We really appreciate it. It's easy, as Jason indicated, to get started with us. Contact us either through the phone, email us, come on the chat feature. But again, happy and willing and really welcome the opportunity to tell you more about the marketplace. Jason, any final words or comments before we let everybody get back to their day?
No, give us a shout. I'd love to show you what we can do.
Awesome. Well, on behalf of Jason, thank you again all so much for attending. Please let us know how we can help, and we'll look forward to seeing you again on the next Quick Rate webinar. Bye now. Have a great day.
Thanks, everybody.